On tonight's CTV News, as the City Council announces the results of the long-awaited Korda-Mentha report, Councillor Raf Manji warns of a financial tsunami that will hit ratepayers where it hurts. This is CTV News. I'm Grant Mangan. The long-awaited state of the Christchurch City Council's finances was revealed today. The council is facing an overrun of $534 million, with the possibility of it ballooning out further if the council fails to secure $1 billion in insurance payouts. The findings were put together by Korda-Mentha, an independent advisory firm contracted by the council. It was part of Mayor Leanne Dalzell's post-election commitment to open the books of the council. A Christchurch City councillor is sending a strong warning to ratepayers over the council's finances. Last night, when new councillor Raf Manji was interviewed for CTV's Lynched, he warned rates will need to rise to pay for the council's share of the blueprint.
A financial tsunami is about to hit ratepayers in the pocket. Strong words from the Christchurch City Council's Finance Committee Chairman during an interview on CTV's Lynched last night.
And I use them because I'm trying to get people's attention to say this is a serious problem.
Major projects in the Central City Blueprint, like the library and the Metro Sports facility, have construction bills running into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Rate rises could be on the cards to help pay for these big-ticket items.
I've looked at the budgets in the 10-year forecast, and that shows pretty hefty rate rises already to get us to the current base case, which is a debt of around $2 to $2.2 billion. So, I mean, that's when I say this is a serious problem.
The first rate increase is hitting ratepayers this year. That's already a hefty increase at 6.5%, but that figure could soon increase.
I don't get the feeling people want rate rises of 10% or 8% a year.
Councillor Manji says rate increases will need to happen.
Raising rates also helps us with our debt ratios because that's one of the key ratios. But you have to remember, all of this work only gets us back to what was quite a tricky position in the first place.
He wants to bring asset sales back up for discussion around the council table.
You can't say we're not selling any assets because that doesn't make any sense.
Well, not if we've got a financial tsunami coming.
No. Pre-earthquake, fine, you could have that position because there wasn't a funding issue. But I think we just have to be open. And it doesn't mean that we have to sell assets or that we're going to, but we have to be open to all the options that are on the table.
But earlier in the show, Councillor Manji told Chris Lynch no assets would be sold.
I think we need to get away from the idea that we're going to sell assets. We're always going to keep strategic control of our strategic assets.
There are murmurs that the government will need to stump up more cash for its share of the blueprint bill. However, the Earthquake Recovery Minister has previously ruled this out. Councillor Manji says it could still happen.
He's committed the government to $1.8 billion for the
vanity projects,
the government's piece of the pie, and obviously he'd like to stick to that number, and that's fine. He wants to make sure that we're doing our bit to keep costs down, but there is flexibility there.
However, as the government hasn't had a chance to review the Korda-Mentha report into the council's finances, these potential discussions won't be happening for some time yet. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
The government announced it would spend over $3 million helping beneficiaries find work in Christchurch, but the initiative hasn't been well received.
Can Canterbury house an influx of rebuild workers? It's the question being asked after the government announced they'd pay a one-off payment of $3,000 as an incentive for beneficiaries to become involved in the rebuild and help with relocating costs. But Glenn Livingston, who chairs the Christchurch City Council's Housing Committee, says it will only put more pressure on the city's already stressed housing market.
I mean, our waiting list is growing, as is Housing New Zealand. We know through the DHB they're having difficulty finding accommodation for those with, mental health issues. So we're already over capacity. Rents have gone up 44% in the last year. The housing market's under severe strain, so there's just nowhere to go.
Councillor Livingston says he wasn't aware of the government's decision until yesterday, despite there being no surprises policy.
Well, I'm not overly angry, just surprised more than anything.
Housing providers have condemned the idea because of the housing shortage, but the chief executive of the Canterbury Employers Chambers of Commerce is hailing the scheme. Peter Townsend says it's more than money and will bring more people into the city. Mr Townsend says it won't just be the construction industry that will benefit from the boost of employers. but the hospitality industry and other growing areas of the rebuild as well. Prime Minister John Key says the government recognised Christchurch's housing shortage, but says there were a range of solutions to elevate it. Last month, Christchurch City Council signed a deal to collaborate with the government. The housing accord would boost the supply of temporary, affordable and social housing in the city. Over $3 million is being allocated for the initiative. Work and Income will work with beneficiaries, matching them to jobs. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
The fire service is on high alert after 2 abandoned homes turned into an inferno last night. There are fears a firebug could be behind the fires.
This is what's left after flames ripped through this house last night. It was one of 2 properties set alight in 2 suspected arson attacks. The 2 homes are both on New Brighton Road. One sits close to Queensbury Street, the other backs onto Lake Terrace Road. Both properties are abandoned, red-zoned and are owned by the Crown. By the time the fire service arrived, the homes were already well ablaze. The Queensbury Street property was the most damaged by the fire. Investigators spent today trawling through what was left as they worked to confirm whether these 2 homes had been intentionally lit. Recently, fires ripped through this Worcester Street house, and last year a spate of arsons inside red-zoned homes had both the fire service and police scared that someone would soon be hurt. The emergency services want to stamp out the firebug behind this wreckage before lighting fires in red-zoned homes becomes a trend. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Employment issues at Littleton Port continue, with a union now accusing the port company of using bullying tactics.
Planned mediation between striking workers and the port company might not get off to a good start. The Rail and Maritime Union are accusing the Littleton Port Company of trying to intimidate staff. The union says the port's threatening to sue workers for damages if any picketing disrupts port action. 11 of the company's logistics officers are planning to stop work for 2 days later this month. They hold a crucial role within the company as they're in charge of planning and running the operation of the loading and unloading of trucks and ships. The union has told the press a threatening letter from the port's lawyers had been received. The letter states if mediation doesn't work and the picketing goes ahead, they will apply to the courts for an injunction and also sue for damages. Today, when CTV called, the chief executive of the Littleton Port Company was unavailable for comment.
We've just heard union members have reached a settlement with the port company and any strike action is off. Employees will now receive a 5.78% increase, and to put this into context, 7 months from now the logistics officer's salary will be more than $5,000 higher than it is today. Half the pay increase will be backdated to January last year, while the other half won't take effect until the start of next year. An agreement has also been reached for a working group to discuss staffing, succession planning and training. Littleton Port Company Chief Executive Peter Davey has told our news team he is very happy with the result. In regards to the letter, he said strike action is aggressive to start with, and the letter wasn't threatening. He says it was simply stating what the port company was prepared to do. Prepare for extra roadworks in the central city, further congestion and inevitable delays. Work is ramping up as Christchurch starts to become a more accessible city.
Work is starting on transforming Christchurch's inner city. It will cost $72 million to roll out phase 1 of the plan. There will be major roading changes at Hospital Corner from Oxford Terrace to Chewham Street. It might be confusing for motorists at first, as Oxford Terrace between Antigua and Durham Streets will be closed to traffic. What once was a road will instead become a key pedestrian route as part of the Avon River precinct. Another much-hyped change will see Chewham Street turn into a one-way road. Traffic will slow down to just 30 k's along the street, motorists will share the road with cyclists, and greenscape will line the footpaths. One of the more drastic changes involves widening Manchester Street. This will create a 29-metre wide tree-lined boulevard. Dedicated bus lanes will run in each direction, and a bus super stop will provide access to the inner CBD and the eastern frame. Another cycleway will be created down Cambridge Terrace and Durham Street South.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic jams are causing trouble for commuters. Now, key figures in the region are suggesting a solution to the problem.
Working from home is being put forward as a possible solution to the city's traffic congestion. allowing staff to work more flexible hours, including days at home. The idea is encouraged by the Waimakariri's Council Chief Executive Jim Palmer. Heavy traffic congestion has also prompted a paper to the Waimakariri District Council's meeting, discussing peak hour gridlocks in and out of the district. Over 40% of the district's workforce commute to Christchurch each day, with traffic between Christchurch and the Waimakariri district increasing by 25% over the past 7 years. Mr Palmer believes the rollout of ultra-fast broadband would make it easier for staff to work from home, and he'd heard of people working from home between 7 and 9 a.m. before travelling to the office, avoiding peak hour traffic. Peter Townsend, the Chief Executive of the Canterbury Employers Chamber of Commerce, has also supported the idea. He says about 70% of his staff had flexible work practices and believed the idea should be explored. Following the Canterbury earthquakes, productivity of those forced to work from home didn't suffer, which Mr Townsend believes is an encouraging sign that working from home could be a viable option.
Coming up, the New Brighton community are doing it for themselves.
Missed a show or want to watch it again? CTV is fitting in with your lifestyle. Be in control with CTV On Demand. Check out our website and follow the links, ctv.co.nz.
Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to Carpet Kingdom. At Carpet Kingdom we stock a massive range of carpets and we're also the largest vinyl stockist in the South Island. And not only do we have an excellent range in store, but you can purchase our stock online. We offer free measuring quotes, we have our own installation team, we ship nationwide, so come on down and see us at Carpet Kingdom, 312 Wilsons Road in Waltham, just off Brougham Street, or visit us online at carpetkingdom.co.nz.
Come dine with Country Catering at the Kaipoi Golf Club Cafe. Enjoy our range of delicious $10 lunches, daily specials and other homemade goodies. Open to the public 7 days inside the Kaipoi Golf Club, north end of William Street, Kaipoi. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Avoid the monkeys when it comes to relocating. Trust A1 Movers, a family business since 1993 that guarantees a professional job every time. We carefully handle and wrap your valued items, ensuring they have a safe journey. Secure storage and insurance options are also available.
A1 Movers, the careful, caring moving company.
Oi!
Wild Spirits covers the biggest, most extreme sports events across the planet. From surfing to base jumping, snowboarding to motocross, this series will sure to have you on the edge of your seat. Wild Spirits, Wednesday nights at 7, CTV.
It's the last day legal highs will be sold in New Zealand, but were users stockpiling the synthetic drugs as predicted?
It's the final countdown until legal highs are off the market. Parliament passed legislation under urgency banning the products. Effective from midnight, anyone selling, supplying or possessing synthetic drugs will be fined $500 under the Psychoactive Substances Act. It'll take 41 legal high products off the market. The legislation was passed unopposed in Parliament yesterday, but the Green Party abstained. Health Minister Tony Ryle is warning against those stockpiling the products before being withdrawn from sale at midnight. Severe side effects from withdrawing from the drugs has caused users to lose consciousness, heart problems and coughing blood. CTV News took to the streets to find if lines to buy the products were out the door, but that wasn't the case. Instead, owners we spoke to wouldn't appear on camera, but said business was the same as any other day, without a spike in users stockpiling the drug before it becomes illegal. One owner said they were upset by the government's swift decision to ban the drugs. He had spent over $50,000 installing security equipment to protect his business and was now losing a core part of his sales. Before yesterday's decision, 43,000 Kiwis signed a petition tabled by Trevor Mallard. It was to put a stop to animal testing which existed under the old Psychoactive Substances Act. Psychoactive products could be allowed back on the shelves after being tested to be low risk, but the government has decided not to test on animals. Health experts believe the ban won't stop the problem, instead pushing the drugs back into the market.
A new building development announced today will bring tourists back into New Brighton.
Big changes for the New Brighton community. SURF, the Strategic Urban Rejuvenation Force, has announced a new apartment development to be built on the Brighton Esplanade.
A 50-room apartment complex that's been put onto the old Esplanade site. It's a 3-storey apartment complex, 50-odd rooms, and it's a combination of residence and managed apartments. It's effectively the first development that New Brighton's seen since they've started the pier.
The organisation is hoping the new complex will kickstart New Brighton's rebuild. The suburb was one of the worst hit areas in Christchurch following the earthquakes. Tony Brooks says the community still feels abandoned more than 3 years on.
Betrayed. We feel betrayed by a city that should know better. New Zealanders and a society wouldn't accept that. You know what I mean? It's not just about New Brighton or us versus them or picking a fight with council. It's effectively what basic New Zealanders would expect, and I don't think basic New Zealanders would expect a suburb that's been decimated to receive zero support.
SURF plans to drive numerous business and investment projects into the suburb. Local leaders feel the suburb is underfunded.
Brighton has received zero allocated development funds. Now, in anyone's world, when New Brighton was the hardest hit suburb of all, how could that be right? How could billions of dollars be spent? How could hundreds of millions of dollars be injected into an area to help? And New Brighton, which is one of the hardest hit suburbs, received nothing at all.
Tony Brooks says creating a rebuild fund is the only way to give the power back to the community.
We've waited 3.5 years, effectively, and what we need to do now is we need to turn up, we need to take direct action. So we're not going to wait another year to raise funds, we're going to do it all in 28 days. So for us, our part of this job, once we launch it, is to motivate the public to get out there. We need to activate an entire community.
The manager of New Brighton's Business and Landowners Association, Paul Zarnin, says the complex will prove Brighton's Central Business District is back up and running.
New Brighton's got this opportunity right now. It's got a blank canvas, if you will. So to finally get some announcement here that hasn't been driven from local or central government. This has been done by the community, and we're starting to lock the place together. There's such a strength in the community here that it's exciting to see these projects start taking off now.
Paul Zarnin says this once booming suburb will be stronger than ever when businesses are back in action.
It's already really strong here. It's the economic heart of the area. The central business district is kind of what's letting the area down. To live in this area, the community strength is already really prevalent, and I think it's got the highest social capita in Christchurch. So we're looking to embrace that in the commercial world moving forward.
Work on the project starts within the next month, just as soon as they have the funding. Joelle Batista, CTV News.
To support breast cancer awareness, a group of women in Christchurch's eastern suburbs have donned pink for a special fashion show.
Strutting their stuff for a good cause. More than 20 ladies giving modelling a go to help raise money for breast cancer. This flowery entry, more of a dancer than something you'd see on a French catwalk, but her confidence helped her take out first place. Despite the excitement over her win, no one was forgetting why they're modelling these clothes today.
There was a serious message with a fun event.
Organiser Betty Chapman runs a weekly group for seniors living in the East.
It's just the fun that if people go home laughing, we've done our job here.
Today's meeting was breast cancer themed, a serious issue for her members.
And even in their older age, it was pointed out to us that women can still get it and to still keep checking.
Free mammograms aren't available for women aged 70 plus. These women say the service should be extended.
We do know people that have been in our groups that have had cancer after that age.
The fashion show wasn't the only pink-themed event. A special auction helped raise funds for New Zealand breast cancer research. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Still to come, our regional roundup, traffic and weather updates.
Flash news set, isn't it? Red and Black Sport gets a new title as well, but we'll still be talking every week to the movers and shakers in sport. Red and Black Sport, Monday nights, 7:30 here on CTV.
The home show sale is on. Hi, Mike from Four Seasons. We have the largest range of gas and wood burners on display. All wood burners and gas fires are heavily reduced. Save up to $1,300 on fire and flue packages. The home show sale at Four Seasons Home and Leisure, Tower Junction Mega Centre.
Get rid of that damaging and unsightly moss, mould and lichen from your path, drive or roof with Mossbuster. Mossbuster is a no-bleach, non-abrasive, biodegradable solution that has over 35 years of proven results. Mossbuster costs less than half the price of other well-known product and can be yours for less than $1 a litre. You just spray it on and let Mother Nature do the rest. Check out our website to find the best solution to your moss, mould and grime problem. Order online or call us now on 0800 88 1000.
Hi, I'm Caitlin, the naturopath here at Staywell Pharmacy. Working with the pharmacist, I use herbal and nutritional medicine to recommend natural alternatives for your health. This can be to counteract any side effects of your medication, general health advice, or natural options for you and your family. I'm also available for consultations. So come in and see us at Staywell Pharmacy, 27 Shands Road, Hornby. Staywell Pharmacy, live well, stay well.
Located at the foot of the Port Hills, Berrymead Golf offers a spectacular location for any occasion. Make a dream wedding a reality with private use of our green function room, outdoor garden courtyard, large marquee and stunning gazebo. Or for your next conference, enjoy the relaxed atmosphere of Berrymead Golf, offering a private, spacious conference room with special deals to make any break a true break. All with customised catering from the Wow Cafe. Berrymead Golf, 50 Berrymead Park Drive, right next to the Berrymead Heritage Park.
I'm Chris Lynch. Join me for CTV's new current affairs show Lynched every Monday at 8:30 right here on CTV, where I talk to the decision makers and those responsible for running our city.
It's time for our weekly roundup of stories from across the region.
The news this week bids farewell to the eyes and ears of Mount Macdonald near Harwoodin. John Percival died in the high country on Anzac Day when he and two teenagers were caught in a torrential downpour in the backcountry. The UT was driving slipped from a farm track when he stopped to put on chains and rolled down a hill. He died in the resulting accident. Elsewhere in the news will feature Mark Ingalls, who is taking a group to the Everest area, including several young North Canterbury people. He will show what the R13 Trust in Kaiapoi is achieving by giving young people a second chance at getting an education, regaining their confidence and acquiring life skills. The news discusses proposals for a new tennis court complex that could see the demise of the Rangiora Club's centrally located courts. They have pages for our farming community and full coverage of the latest round of the North Canterbury rugby competition, Huranui netball, hockey and more. Plans are afoot to create a heritage precinct at the Plains Museum in Tynwald. The large site is already home to the Ashburton Rail and Preservation Society, a heritage collection of fire engines and the Lynn Woodworking Museum. But more organisations dealing with the history are expected to join those at the site, with plans to market it as a heritage precinct. A Plains Museum Trust will be formed which will hold the head lease at the site, with organisations leasing from it. Ashburton District Council has budgeted up to $400,000 to drive the project. Ashburton could get a 3-bin waste collection system. The District Council has received almost 2,000 submission forms from residents and businesses, and 46.5% of respondents backed a 3-bin system, the most expensive of possible options. Rubbish now is collected in black bags with a crate for glass. Residents were asked if they wanted the status quo, a 2-bin system or a Rolls-Royce 3-bin system. Once the submissions have been collated, a more formal consultation process will begin later this year before any final decisions are made. But Wastebusters educator Katie Esler reckons Ashburton is not yet ready for the bin system and should explore a local sustainable option.
If you're driving around the central city, CTV's Traffic Update will assist you navigating the repairs taking place.
Hello travellers, to help you plan your journey around the central city, here's another update on what's happening with the roads this week. Since Monday you will have noticed increased traffic on the roads. Yes, the holidays are over and the children are now heading back to school. Congestion and delays, it's all fun and games for road users around the central city. There are several work sites down Barbados Street, which means it's down to 1 lane in many parts. This means the road remains busy throughout the day. Durham Street's also back to its slow ways, with many places down to 1 lane. Remember to use Fitzgerald Ave South if you can to avoid the jams inside the central city. It's also a great northbound route when you're heading home. To keep up to date on what's happening with the Central City roads, stay tuned, keep watching CTV News first at 5, and in the meantime visit the Transport for Christchurch website.
And finally tonight, your regional weather.
Good evening, Canterbury. Let's take a look at your region's weather. First up in Timaru, Temuka and Geraldine 17. In Ashburton 17, but in Methven slightly warmer on 18. Over in Rakaia 17. Darfield, Leeston and Ralston 18 degrees and Lincoln and Christchurch 18. Over in Akaroa 18, and as we head over the Waimakadere River, Rangiora and Kaiapoi 19 degrees. Amberley 19 as well. In the Huranui district, Hanma Springs and Culverden 21, Cheviot 21 as well, and up the top in Kaikoura 20 degrees. And looking ahead for tomorrow, in Timaru, cloudy with showers developing during the afternoon and colder southerly winds developing. Tonight's low 8 and tomorrow's high 13. In Ashburton, a colder and cloudier Thursday ahead, with some rain developing during the afternoon and southerly winds. Expect a low of 8 overnight and a high of 13. In Christchurch, high cloud at first, but cloud increasing and showers developing later in the day, with cool southwesterly winds. Tonight's low 8, tomorrow's high 13. In Kaikoura, mostly fine with high cloud increasing and mild northerly winds dying out. Colder southerlies and rain from the evening. Tonight's low 8, tomorrow you've got the high of 15. And in other areas, Geraldine and Temuka 13 degrees, cloudy with some showers. Methven and Rakaia slightly cooler on 12 with showers. Darfield and Leeston 13 tomorrow. Ralston and Lincoln 8 overnight and a high of 13. Akaroa a cloudy day but 13 degrees. Kaiapoi and Rangiora a high of 14 and a low of 8. Hanma Springs, Culverden and Cheviot a high of 15 and a low of 8, some cloud expected with showers. Looking ahead for Canterbury, cloudy and cold on Friday with rain at first easing to showers and those showers clearing during the afternoon. Gusty southwesterly winds decreasing. Snow to 700 metres though. Fine and mostly sunny on Saturday and Sunday with cool temperatures and light northeasterly winds. A period of cloud and southwesterly winds developing on Monday. Cold southwesterlies freshening on Tuesday with a period of showers. And that's all for your regional weather tonight. Have a lovely evening.
So it looks as though if we can survive the next 2 wet and windy days, we're in for a spectacularly good weekend. That's CTV News for Wednesday. I'm Grant Mangan. Good night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.